Hey, is this thing on? Lance, Nick, ready? Can you hear me? Welcome to the Live Free and Hunt podcast.
It.
You're like a bad deck of cards that loves to lose. You don't listen to me, and I don't want you to, 'cause we sure have fun throwing my money away. You bet high, I bet low. You're all in and I'm all broke. Another paycheck down the drain.
New card?
No, these are the old ones.
Oh.
I got the new ones. They're in the mail right now. We
Nice.
just made them. They have me and Odd Job on the front,
Oh, sweet.
and then it has a picture on the back of the food plots that we used to have down below with the turnip.
Yeah.
There was like that deep and 3 does in it eating, and one of the does is like got her face full of it.
That's awesome. You mess around with food plots quite a bit, yeah?
Yeah, we used to. I
We
don't
used
now.
to.
We don't
Yeah.
have room right now. I don't have a place to do it.
Do you just do turnips, like clover?
Different stuff for different seasons.
Yeah.
Clover for summer, high protein, easy growing, and then we always put in turnip and sugar beets in for the fall,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, they love those turnips.
We did peas.
We did peas up on top on T-plot, yeah, and they did hit those pretty good in the summertime, but they don't take cold very well.
No, I did, well, I guess before we get too far, we got Uncle Rob's in the building.
Woo!
And James Smith. They made the trek over this morning,
Heck yeah.
so I appreciate you guys doing that.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank
no
you.
problem.
And next time, I guess we're going to have to come your way.
Yeah, come over. I'll show you a piece of our property.
There we go, yeah. So I did, I tried to do clover last year. I didn't have a tractor. It was just Outback. I don't know. It's like when I messed up the soil, planted it, and then we didn't have rain for like 2 months after that. And I'm like, yeah, well, there goes that. It did grow for a little bit, but it was just kind of like I wasn't making a food plot necessarily. I was just trying to
Trying to get something out.
see if it made a difference.
Yeah,
But-
clover's the easiest one to do because it just grows naturally,
Right.
anyways. But you do have to prep your soil.
Yeah.
It has to be soft, and you get a lot of pine out back.
Yeah,
So your pH is probably
it's way too
terrible. Probably like 2.
Very acidic.
Yeah. So you want it with food plots. It's getting your pH level.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize how much lime you need.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we used to truck in hundreds of pounds.
Oh yeah, I used to backpack it in, 80
Really?
pounds
Yeah,
at
it
a
was-
time.
It
And
wasn't fun.
It wasn't
No, and
It's not fun at
it
all.
literally took 3 years to get the pH to
Where
work
you wanted it to
because you
be.
just couldn't get it to it.
were you? So was this like Was this a field, like an old ag field? Or
No,
was
it
in
was
the middle of
log
the
roads.
woods?
Yeah, they were
We
log
utilized a bunch of
Yeah.
log roads.
Yeah.
for
It had been ag back in the turn of the century, but it was just a log road that they had put in, and I had them clear out a big clearing,
Yeah,
and we hand tilled it with a Troy built horse,
yeah,
which was like a 4-wheel drive adventure to get it in there. But I'll tell you, if people have a remote place like that,
Yeah.
those things are great. They'll go anywhere,
right.
Yeah.
and they do a great job. And that is 100% of it is this soil preparation, is the tilling and getting your lime in.
Yeah,
Clover's one of those things they can utilize a lot of what's already in the soil. So you just got to get your pH to at least somewhere between 6 and 7. And it takes a lot of lime.
right.
We're talking, if you're really, like, say, an acre of it, the old rule of thumb was 1,000 pounds per acre, and that isn't even close to enough in New Hampshire. So you need,
Holy smokes, 1,000 pounds an acre.
well, for instance, there's a 2-acre piece that I'm familiar with right now that to get the pH closest to 7 as we can get it, it's 2 acres. It was a bunch of pine that was stripped out, and that's going to take 10,000 pounds of lime to get it to that neutral.
And that has to be like you're not turning over obviously crop there year after year. You need to be consistent year after year to plant there.
Yeah,
you put all that money in.
Depending on the type of lime you're going to use.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're using commercial lime that you see the farmers putting out onto the pastures, that's that powder. That's going to take a lot. And the stuff you buy at the store is what we were using because it's easier to pack in. It takes more. It works quicker, but it takes more. It's a pelletized lime.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a 3-year period before we got the soil really good. And it was apparent because, the plants were growing. And after you put in the lime in a few times, the plants would grow, but the deer weren't really hitting it very hard. Because it's still, a plant is basically a vehicle to transport the nutrition from the soil to the deer. Mm-hmm. And if the soil isn't at the right pH, the plant can't pull the nutrients out, and they're going to transfer that acidity and everything else into their taste. So you have to get that soil to a point where the plants are sweet. You've heard people call it sweet plants. You got to get it so it's that sweet point, and then the deer are on it. By that 3rd or 4th year, the deer were hammering
because they know it's there. It'll be there.
Yeah, it was there, but also because it was
tasty to them, and it had a lot of nutrition. And we put in quite a bit of. You got to fertilize it. Mm-hmm. Of course, I don't have all my stats with me today, but. Clover is great because it makes its own nitrogen, so you get nitrogen delete fertilizer for it.
Yeah,
I think it's like 0.25 or something like that. So it doesn't have the nitrogen in it because you're putting nitrogen in and it's not needed. The clover's making their own. So, but you do need it for your turnips and your sugar beets and that kind of thing.
I've always wondered about, I know quite a few people do food plots and put a lot of time into it in New England or New Hampshire. But I'm always like, the deer where we live, they're like, they eat sticks, like how it's almost like if they haven't been born and raised to look for that in the woods, then I'm sure it's supplement and it's something that they once they find it's probably good. But
what's Roscoe's? You build it, they'll come.
Build it and they come. Yeah. And what happens is your bucks that are already living there, they may hit it, but you're not going to see them on it much because it's not what they're used to.
Right.
So every single time I do anything with a property, I look at it as a 5-year plan because the doe is going to come to that. Just because they're used to going to fields and eating in the open. So they're going to come to that, and they're going to feed in it, and they're going to bring their young ones. They're going to bring the fawns.
The other generations. Yeah.
And then those buck fawns are going to know that food source is there. And in 5 years now, when he's a big mature buck, he's going to come back to it. So you always have to look at it as a 5-year plan. I mean, this is an investment on your property if you're going to make one of these.
Right.
And we had 2 plots on our property that we used to have that we hunted on. The rest of them were feeding plots for antler growth and body growth. And these food plots really help the deer grow their body. A buck has to grow its body and skeletal structure before it can grow a good rack. You have the freaks that will start growing really good racks because they have fast growth. Genetically, they're bigger, quicker. But in general, in New Hampshire, a buck has to finish his body growth and his skeletal growth before he can grow a really spectacular rack.
Right.
And we're seeing that with Ike.
Yeah.
He's at that point now where his skeletal structure is at peak. He's done growing his skeleton. He's still got to put on some muscle mass, but his antlers are going to explode if James doesn't kill him this year, because that's the point, because it is on a public land deer.
Right.
Yeah, because there's another guy in there. There's another guy.
Yeah. Another guy we know is hunting
the same
him too.
deer,
So
you friends with him?
No.
Rob
is. I don't know him.
He doesn't know him. No,
I would be real quick to say no.
No, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
If I got introduced to him, probably.
Yeah, and he would be the first guy to help and share intel with him on it. Because
right now we don't. We have not crossed paths yet.
That's good.
My thing is I know everybody And people know me, so it's
Yeah.
like if somebody is in there and he says, "I got this picture," and I go, "Oh, I know that guy."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I should introduce them. I got to get them together so they're not like going,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Who's this? So, Ike, do you want to go into the story? I know you guys talk about on your podcast. You know, you're giving updates and stuff.
Yeah. So when we saw this deer, we didn't name him at that point in time. We saw this deer. We were turkey hunting. We were turkey hunting up on, I don't know, what is it, the second or third day of turkey season?
I think it was the second day of turkey season.
Second or third day, it was like 11 o'clock. We were just driving around at that point. And we drove by a swamp, and I'm like, there's a fucking buck out there in that field, dude. I'm like, go back. So we backed up, and we watched him. And at that point, he was out past his ears.
Was it 2 years ago?
This was last year.
Yeah.
So he was already out past his ears at this point. And I'm like... And I looked at him because I knew he hunted over there. I was like, do you hunt here? Nope. So was it 2 days later I was in there and I had like 10 cameras scattered through there.
Yeah. And I shed hunted the spot, but I don't gun hunt it.
And then consistently throughout that whole summer, pictures of him. And we could tell him because he's got a huge scar on his hip.
Yeah.
So it was a very distinctive deer, what we knew. And he got his name, ironically, because a good friend of mine that films for me, his son was born on the day that we started really getting pictures of him blew out. So we were like, and my daughter's like, let's name him Mike. And Ike was actually their dog's name.
Oh,
It's
really?
an English bulldog that they got named Ike. So they were like, what a name the dog, name this deer Ike. So I was like, okay, Ike it is.
Yep.
So
it fits him.
It fits him, yeah. And last year, we just could not catch up with him last year. He was probably 145 inch 8 last year. Just ungodly big body. He was big body too, probably 190.
Yeah, he's in the 190s.
Somewhere in there. But never caught up with him. Never.
You got pictures of them all season?
All season, like last day of rifle season, he crossed this road and a hunter come right through. An hour and a half later. So it was like...
Your butthole's puckering all.
Yeah.
So we were like all season long, all winter long wondering. But then Rob found his sheds not too far from there. So
Yeah, it was a ways.
Yeah, it was a ways.
It was over a mile.
Miles.
Because they come out of where Ike is right now. It's his summering spot and his early rutting spot or his preseason
and then
spot.
he moves up because of feed.
Yeah.
He moves up.
Yeah, because up the mountain there's a big oak ridge where I pick up quite a few sheds, and I was shocked. I mean, the dog found it. I didn't find it. It's actually on video on one of the videos. Chance found it and brings it over to me, and I was, what deer is this? And at first I thought it was freeze frame, but it wasn't. I was like, nah, it's not wide enough. It's not quite the right size. It's not the right shape. So after that, we found the match to it the same day, but it was back behind us. We had somehow gotten past it. I think the wind wasn't right for the dog or something. So on the way out, dog finds the match to it. And I was like, no kidding.
No, here we go.
So, and I'm looking at it, I says, I wonder if this is Ike. So I sent James a picture. I says, what do you think? And he goes, I think it is.
Yeah.
So I says, okay, well, if it's not, I'll keep him. But if it is, they're yours, brother. So I brought it over, and he goes, oh, yeah, this is him.
Yeah, and there was like multiple people that, like the couple people that actually do get to see that's seen the pictures of him.
Right.
Like that's definitely him.
So he's got him at the house now.
So they're now sitting at the house. But
that was the same day I found the flyer buck antler, too, which is another buck that doesn't live in that piece. Yeah. He's about 1.5 miles on the opposite side of the mountain where his is. But they all come in there to eat.
Yeah.
So it's just a seasonal transition spot, which is awesome because it works out for me because I get to shed hunt.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, and then coming in, that proved to us right there that he survived the winter. So we were like, so my focus, like I canceled trips. I was supposed to go to Virginia.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm from. I'm from Virginia. I was supposed to go to Virginia, go back and hunt there, probably hunt Ohio when I came back up through. But I was like, no, I'm focusing to kill this deer here in New Hampshire. I don't care. It's this deer or nothing, basically, until his running buddy showed up. So now it's one of these two deer.
Yeah.
But definitely Ike. But Ike's probably, we got pictures from July 4th last year and then this year, and 20 inches?
Yeah,
20
anyways,
plus
he
inches
blew up.
Blew up.
Wow.
His
in that
time
time.
length is crazy.
And then pictures of him just yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He walked by the camera, and
Yeah.
it's he's fully blown out now.
He's still got velvet on.
Yeah, still holding
He's tight.
velvet.
Yeah.
tight,
He's tight.
But I would say 150s as an 8, 155 maybe pushing.
Yeah.
He's
How often are you guys getting pictures of them?
every other day.
Every other day, nice.
Every other day.
And
right
During
now.
the day?
During the day, 8
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
We went in 2-3 weeks ago and put in a whole different spread in there, and this next spread that we just put in is really helping because it's kind of giving us a bigger picture of his movement and where we've got it down now. We think we're pretty sure we know kind of where he's bedding and when he's coming out, he's kind of going through that same spot.
Because last year I hunted one spot. I was getting consistent pictures, but then when the rut started, I was like, I'm not getting nothing here.
It disappeared.
Nothing.
Just shut off.
So when we were gun hunting last bit of gun season, and we came across a spot that I marked out. My Onyx is blown up.
Right.
Where I was like,
Every little piece of information.
I was like, we got to be here, and within, I think I moved the camera, and 2 days after I moved the camera, boom, he was on it every other day. So it was like,
are you guys super? Me and Lance were like on our group chat, or even if we're just texting, we're like always debating on whether, because we got a couple nice deer, or you have a couple nice deer on camera, and it's like
I'm still trying to figure them out. So I'm figuring them out, and I just don't know if I should push in further right now, or should I just stick with the pictures I'm getting now?
because it's not super consistent, but it's also
consistent
do you want to
enough.
go in there
Yeah.
and chance to
Yeah.
because he's a mature buck. I feel like
Yeah.
if we bump him once or
Ike's a real mature buck. And
Yeah.
it's like,
But you guys just said you went in there 2 weeks ago too, but
Yeah,
and
I-
Yeah,
put
but
in
it's
cameras.
three
but
weeks.
3 weeks ago, but
weeks
here's
ago?
the key. We're not far off a main road
So
where
this-
they're hiking.
This,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
the neighbor across the road, him and his wife hike and walk their dog up and down
So
this
they're
road.
used to-
So he's used to that.
He's used to hearing
People walking.
People, yeah,
That
Yeah.
our incursions aren't really deep into his area either. We're just going in maybe 200 yards in on a maybe is it about 200 into there, maybe a little less.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
we're not going in super far. We're not getting into his bedding. We're not getting into his safe spot. We're going into these transition areas, and
'Cause
we're
we've-
not
we've-
walking on the trails.
we found what we think is his bedding area on that upper top,
Mm-hmm.
and we completely
Just leave that alone,
we
of
don't even
course,
go near
yeah.
that.
No, that's
like
I
a
think the
sanctuary.
closest that we got to that was probably 100 yards.
I
a
guess
couple
that's
weeks
what
ago.
we need to look into or study is maybe when we get done here, we bring up a map and get the topo and there's a swamp. We'll go over where we think he might be.
Yeah.
Because I just
I got some other pictures of him crossing a road, and I was walking some paths too out some runs right after deer season too. I know they don't really, sometimes they don't have nothing to do with their summering areas or early fall, but I put some cameras out on some of those runs, and I'm getting consistent pictures. So it's like they're still using those runs,
Yep.
even during the winter and during now.
This all kind of goes back to how I hunted
going.
Odd Job. Is you have to pick out the buck's individual personality. Is he a wanderer? Is he a homebody? How does he like to bed? Some bucks like to bed down in a swamp on an island or out in the open field with high grass. Some bucks like being up high and being on those northeast points and looking into valleys and stuff. Every buck has an individual personality, and that's what you have to learn.
That northeast point makes perfect sense. Just
Yeah.
that backside of that mountain I was telling you about, how I think they're traveling. They're just doing a big circle. I think they're coming through, then they come through, then they go. And they just do a big circle.
Yeah, most deer do big circles. Some much bigger than others.
Oh,
I
correct.
mean, we've
Yeah.
had them as far as 9 miles away
Right.
doing their circle. Some of them, Oddsy, he did a circle that was probably only 800 acres.
actually what you just posted what was it, a week ago, about a deer. It was like I don't know if it was a collared deer, but it kind of got it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
home range and
His rutting range is
yeah.
completely different.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But you saw in that picture how much time he spent there.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what those pings were on that. That was from MSU.
Yeah.
Which I love. That anybody out there, if they want to really get into the mind of how deer work, MSU is a great place to look for information. They do so many great studies, and they collar deer, and they let them go, and they just pick up on movement, and it's incredible. And they do it from rut, summer. I mean, they've got a whole great thing on bedding cover. Now, granted, they're Mississippi, so it's going to be a little different.
Right.
But a deer is a deer, and deer try to do the same things in different places. It's just that your topography is different,
right?
And maybe your fauna, your flora and fauna is a little different. But MSU is a great place to look for information for that. But that is a great study, and the deer here do that same thing.
Right.
They have wintering areas, they have summering areas, and they have rutting areas.
Yeah. I guess that's another thing that we're going to try to this all kind of ties together, I guess. But so with you only moved a set of cameras, 200 yards, you said, not into his.
I would say about 500, 600 yards.
Yeah.
We moved it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not far from a road, but we'll move them in and out depending on where they are. We play. I know personally when I do it, I try to make it so it's not in a spot that's going to freak him out.
Right.
And I never,
I've heard of that,
ever
too.
walk on a trail.
James, you're going to lose that arm.
Yeah, we've seen that before.
Yeah.
How many cameras are you running on him?
Jesus. I would say
That means it's a lot.
Enough.
I would say there's 12 in there.
Yeah,
And that's strict. That's well, you said he's got a running mate now, but originally that was your plan is
That
put
was strictly,
12 for this deer.
Yeah, strictly for him. It was
Mhm.
That's what it was, but now I'm targeting this other one. If this other one walks out, he's gonna get shot too.
which shouldn't be too hard because they're together.
They're together, so it's
All
gonna
the time.
suck. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he comes out first, do I wait?
Right.
Because I know.
Yeah, it's like, shoot that doe before.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, so it's like
Yep.
probably the first few nights I'd wait.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
do I
I
wait
don't
or
know.
not?
He's
you ain't waiting.
he's pretty unique, and he's
maybe.
he's a shooter. I mean, he's
100%.
unique. So I think he, as far as I go, I'm a taxidermy nut. So I think he'd make an awesome.
Oh, he's gonna make an awesome mount. That
because
other deer.
great talk. I mean, it's a deer you don't see.
Right.
Yeah.
The way it's set up. I mean, you guys have one over here that's similar.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of neat.
But yeah, we're running 3 regular cameras. I would say 4 cell cameras in there
Mhm.
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. And I know my spots I'm running. I have 30 now.
30 cell cameras?
No,
No.
I run regulars. Most of the places I'm in, I don't
Not
get
have
good
service.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tacticams, I guess, are good for that.
Oh yeah.
But the Tacticams, as everybody's known, has been kind of hit and miss to get. So I'm just running regular ones now. And I don't check a camera every month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
When are you guys gonna? Well, without this, when are you gonna go and check to figure out where you're gonna be opening day?
This is the last time I'm going in there.
Today.
So,
Today was the last day
Yeah,
I'll walk
okay.
into that spot.
yeah. So the rest of
I
the
know
planning-
where.
So-
So what we got now is what we think what we're gonna need.
yeah.
We're gonna go. We got the pictures on that laptop, but it's like we're gonna go look at Onyx, figure out, and I'm gonna go in there open in morning,
Mhm.
even if it's from far away observation watch,
Yeah.
and then move my way down. But
Yeah.
this is it. That was the last walk in there.
Yeah.
Was this morning
Do you-
until opening morning.
yeah, okay. Do you always just be like, all right, 2 weeks out? Usually you kind of like, that's the last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes even more than that. It depends
Yeah,
on how much
right.
information.
Right,
you've
no,
gathered.
that's true, yeah.
Like we,
Yeah, there's a lot of factors.
I think what screwed me last year with probably killing this deer was going in a week before.
Mhm.
I went
Just
in a
leaving
week
your scent
before,
around.
and we
Yeah,
were
I'm
getting
not
him
gonna bother.
constantly. Like every,
Dude, you can see it in the pictures.
we were getting him every day walking through the spot.
And you
I
went
went,
in, and he's
I
not
went in
coming
there to pull the cards, and he was gone.
Yeah.
We did not show
Yeah.
back up to that spot until the rut.
I'm not
the pic-
going. I'm not going back in there.
The pictures he
I'm
got
done
today.
in there. I got what I need, but
The pictures he got today, the first couple of pictures of Ike coming through, he came in and he knew, and it was a couple of days after.
It was a couple days after we put that camera in
and
there.
he knew we were there. And
a doe came in first,
yeah.
and she didn't even walk nowhere near that camera. She
yeah,
walked right around.
yeah, and then
Then he came in, ghosted it, and walked around. And then finally, now he's
And Curly did
going
too.
Now he's going right beside it. So every time.
So it took a while for that scent to dissipate and get him back on a normal regiment. I mean, they will. I've always found with these big bucks, if you're in a travel zone, they're used to disruption.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. But if you get close to their bedding and their safe space and you go into it at this point in time, he's already going through transition. He's going to be losing his velvet. He's going to start feeling his hormones. He's going to feel uncomfortable, and he's going to go to his secondary bedding spot or his other spot he feels safe because he's already going through that transition anyways. Right. You want to keep everything as unmolested as possible. And I know a lot of guys out there, there's going to be guys out there that says, I just go everywhere and this happens and I shoot a big buck. It's like, you're lucky.
I don't get that lucky.
and they're hunting, a lot of those guys are hunting with guns too.
Right, yeah.
Which is a different animal altogether. He's going to do this with a bow, so he has to keep everything so the deer doesn't think he's being hunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not even on a hang on. I usually hunt at a hang-ons.
Yeah.
I strictly went to a climber
Just for this.
just for this hunt. I switched everything to a climber. So
Nick's gone like, to a saddle.
Yeah, I was gonna go saddle, but I didn't really care for it. Everybody.
I got the Lone Wolf self climber.
Yep.
Love that thing.
Yep.
Love it. I don't think I'll go with another climber probably, or that'll probably be my carry around stand.
We've been
what are you
running,
laughing at?
I'll stay with my tent.
It is. One day, you had my climber, or I didn't have a climber. It was someplace else. It was in the woods, but I was like, I've been seeing deer up here. I had your climber in the back of my truck,
and
it was the self climber. So it's like
it's a little different. You got to hold.
There's
it
nothing
right.
like when you're on a Viper, you have like the thing you get inside and you can climb up. This is just
the tops.
You got to put your elbows on the seat.
There's nothing around you. So I forgot.
I love that thing.
I was in such a rush. I went out there, didn't have a rope to pull up my bow, so I'm holding my bow. Didn't have a harness. I'm like, well, here we go. Climbing.
What is that? Say agoraphobia? I have. Yeah, I'm good.
But yeah, so how far away do you think is like? What's your safe place where you think he's bedding now? Like, how far away are you gonna? Obviously, you're gonna set up near that camera, I assume.
Yeah, open in morning. I'll probably set up 100 yards up above that camera just to watch it.
Yeah, that's your rule of thumb is about 100 yards.
I'm gonna set up above it. I'm gonna come walk the road up above and drop down in, and I'll set
so
up
stay off that camera enough to where you can at least put eyeballs on him.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of
if he comes through there, because I don't know if he's coming through. I'm just
curious.
There.
How come? Well, could you just switch the camera today?
Yeah. No. Oh, we had it for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we had it 3 weeks. We went in, we grabbed it was a grab and go. Pop, pop, done.
Yeah, get it the hell out of here.
Yeah, we got out.
We didn't even see. I think a lot of people make this huge mistake because they get in, they get the little viewer, and they stand by their camera, and you're just adding more and more scent, and then it slows it down. When we put that camera in, we came in a different way.
We walked right up the trail.
Yeah, we came down the trail there. We put the camera in. And we were there for a while, setting it up, making sure the angle's right, and that extra scent in there really bothered him. Not enough to make him not come back through, but it was enough to make him think about it. So today it was just like in and out, get out, quick as possible.
How come you wouldn't sit up on the camera then? Just curious.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's topography.
Yeah,
where the camera is.
Yeah, it's sitting down in a bowl, and I want to be above because
if
in the morning time, obviously,
right?
Like,
the scent's gonna be
listening to him. I don't hunt thermals. I never. Usually, where I hunt is all ground, so I don't really have to use it. I just play the wind to my face. Using the thermals now because I'm hunting in the mountains, it's gonna come right up,
pull it
right up to me. So I got to be above this camera. So I gotta just sit there. If open in the morning, I gotta watch him walk by. Yeah, it's not suck, but
if you're getting consistent pictures, like, would you say every day or every other day?
It's like every other day. It's looking like. But
so if it lines up though, right?
Yeah.
If everything lines up and all the stars align, and you get a picture a day before, or what would it be? If it's every other 2 days before.
If I could see where his angle is, I'm gonna set up more on that angle. That's what I gotta look at when we go look at the pictures, because we just quickly, because we had to get up here.
Yeah.
We just pulled him up on the laptop, like, oh shit, there he is. Good. Threw the laptop in the back, and we started driving. So it's like.
Yep. Yeah.
But
he's got to get.
But the evening's gonna be. That's a no-brainer.
That one's going to be a lot easier if you can get him in
easier.
the evening, because where he's crossing, he's got the prevailing wind out of the west there generally, and he's crossing a very open tote road, and he's coming across, and he's cross-cutting it with the northwest wind coming into his face. We're not sure where he's going. I think he's going to some fields down the road. I think that's kind of where he's heading. But if he sets up, on that opposite side of where the deer's crossing that road, he's protected.
Right. Yeah.
And the wind's going to blow his scent in an area the deer is never going to know he's there, and he's going to whack this deer.
And in the evening will be a lot better because it'll be an easier drag out.
Yeah, and I'll be home from work, so you can call me.
But we'll see opening day.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything works out.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So say if I know. Say if something, you didn't have pictures every other day and they were, twice a month or whatever, and there's a target buck. This is not saying on Ike, but just in general. What would you do? Because people have been having their cameras out all summer long and they're getting a picture of a deer and they're like, all right, this is gonna be it. And all of a sudden they lose velvet, leaves start coming down. There's more food source on the ground. What do you do? What would you do? To just move cameras around because of like what we were talking about earlier, summer range, and then they start like you're getting a little bit funky, and then they're gonna go to their wintering or pre-rut range.
Yeah.
What would be the best case scenario for moving a camera to try to figure out where that buck went?
You're gonna want to look for food.
Yeah.
Food is until that rut kicks in, he's gonna be thinking about getting ready and feeding. The other thing I look for in that case is where did I have a camera set that all I was getting on it was does. Well, guess what's going to happen pretty quick? He's going to start that pre-rut phase, and he's going to start showing up in the doe areas, running the doe bedding yards, running the doe trails.
That's why I'm kind of staying where I am, too, because I got a group of 3 or 4 does that had just been no fawns. I'm surprised, no fawns. I don't know. I had
you got
one.
A coyote issue or
I think
bear?
one of them. I think I did have a coyote on a cam the other night, but I think I had one fawn in July, and I haven't seen it since. So I don't know what happened to that. But I just been hanging around the doe areas. I got a lot of does been hanging around, so I think that's
which is very smart, especially if you're a gun hunter. If you're a gun hunter. We all like getting pictures of big bucks, okay?
Everyone does. Who doesn't?
It's our perversion, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a gun hunter, it's more important for you, as even a muzzleloader hunter, is to know where the does are. If you're getting tons and tons of does on camera, a lot of guys get all frustrated and say, "There's no big bucks." Well, you're in the spot you need to be for gun hunting. You need to be where those does
are.
are.
In the wrong spot.
Yep. Because that's where they're going to be come the time you're going to shoot them. As far as a bow hunter goes, it's important to know where the bucks are because you're hunting that September season, so you need to be where they're moving around. Which, we're all pretty much all here. We're all dual season hunters, so that's what makes sense as far as your camera setups. Now, I've got friends. I know 2 or 3 guys that don't hunt, but they run cameras because they like the pictures of wildlife. And sometimes they give me information. So, and they don't, a lot of these guys aren't even into it for the bucks. They just like getting the deer. And I gain a lot of knowledge off from that. So if you have people that aren't hunters and they have cameras, get information from them because it helps, especially because you need to spread out your cameras and know, especially if you have opportunity to hunt different places and more room, and you can't afford or you can't get enough cameras, other people will help you out, especially those people who don't hunt,
Right, yeah.
Or aren't after a certain buck in that area.
Right.
But, so I always tend to look for does, and I don't get discouraged when I find those doe spots because I know I gun hunt mostly, so I know that's where I need to be. So it's nice to know every deer in your area and know what kind of ground each of them going on, and then study it afterwards. So, I mean, does tend to be closer to food. They tend to be, they like flat spots on top of knobs and stuff like that, where bucks like points for bedding. So, and this can help you too. If you are looking for a specific buck, you need to be able to dissect your property and know what part of ground you're going to get mostly does on and what part of ground you're going to get bucks on. And it's, for me, it sounds, I'll make it sound elementary, but to me, it's not that hard to figure this out. Is bucks use totally different pieces of ground during the summer than does do. They intersect, but if you're trying to target a certain buck, there's certain areas you're definitely going to get bucks. And I'm pretty sure you can, James, you can double this as far as pictures go, if you're getting a lot of bucks on camera, you're not getting many does.
No. This is I think there's only one. I could count one or two does in that whole spot where Ike is. That's got a fawn.
Just come kind of randomly through
comes
sometimes.
Randomly.
Yeah.
If I have a camera set up down below, I get her every day.
Yeah.
Her and their fawn every day.
And as far as Ike goes, we set that camera up on a crossing. There's a doe trail. It's an obvious doe trail because it's pounded to hell.
Right in, yeah.
And it's going straight up and down the hill. He's cutting across. He's coming down kind of across cutting it too when he comes down.
Is he coming down south? Is he coming down?
He's coming off from a north face.
Yeah, north
coming
face
down.
coming down the hill to go to
Big bucks like to bed on north and northeast facing points.
Yeah,
and this is
idea.
even
Them
Steve Shirk and I were talking about that northeast points. That's it.
Huh?
You know, and that
makes
tends to be why. And in the summertime, a big buck wants comfort and he wants safety. Safest place to be is on a north point in the shade where he can see down and through a valley.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty smart. It's pretty smart. They want that tactical advantage at all times. Not only that, but now they can also use the prevailing winds in their favor by getting on those north points. A lot of guys who shed hunt will tell you that some of the biggest sheds that they find will be on just over the top on those north points.
Even in the wintertime when you would assume that they'd be on a south-facing slope.
Right. They're feeding on that south face, but they're bedding on
still.
that northern face. And a lot of it is a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're grumpy old men.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want to
wanna be
deal with
bothered.
teenage kids,
they
and they don't want to deal with old
anyone
ladies,
around, yeah.
you know? So they separate themselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's and I say that, but as the testosterone drops, you'll start seeing the bachelor groups pick back up.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these really older bucks, 6, 7, 8 years old, they want to be alone. And they may be bedding where there's a bunch of bucks in a group, but they're going to be off. You know, so you'll find a couple of beds where the bucks are, and then over a little ways on another point, you're going to find another bed.
The grumpy old man bed.
Yep, get away from me. I want to be alone. So, and as we're all getting older, we kind of know what that's about.
No, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna dissect this deer you got, Lance.
Yeah, the couple we got.
Yeah.
You call out sick.
Big
opening
10,
day.
huh?
Call out sick.
Yeah, no, it's on a Wednesday this year.
I know.
It sucks.
It's on a Wednesday, then that Saturday is the 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first weekend.
You're opening day. You taking off? Are you?
I work third shift,
So you're
so
good.
I
So
can.
you're perfect. You're
Yeah.
up all
Oh, yeah.
night anyways.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to freaking sleep.
Nope. So I'll be right when
Yeah,
I'll
right
be
when you
leaving.
punch out.
I'll be leaving early
Yeah.
that day.
You'll be putting on your clothes
Yeah.
right after you get out of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be leaving early. I'll get there probably 4:30, and
You'll have butterflies in his stomach
Yeah.
the whole
Oh,
time
about
up
to
the road.
throw up.
Yeah.
Just about to get out of the vehicle. You're trying to stretch.
Get the dry heaves.
Yep.
and then I'll be back there that evening.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Maybe not.
oh, we'll see.
Yeah, could be because that deer's coming through right as the thermals are starting to change on you. So
Yeah.
that's perfect. Is 8, 9 o'clock is about the time, isn't it?
9 o'clock was the latest. 9:30.
So you'll have the thermals in your favor if you're above him, and he's going to be cutting through there. So that's going to work out awesome.
Perfect.
And you got good shooting lanes as you go up through there because it's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Nice. Something that me and Nick and Lance were talking about, and I talked to Diane just about it, just chatting online. And I kind of beat this to death, and I probably shouldn't, but it's like hunting season's coming. The road that, I don't know, you guys didn't come up it today, but it's just new posters all over it, just randomly,
Oh, nice.
and not filled out, no rhyme or reason. I don't know if it's good to speak out on this because it could probably bite us in the ass or bite me in the ass or whoever, but I have a giant issue with people that because hunting season's coming and they have a bunch of land, they can just throw up like 2 posters and then it's technically it's posted. You can't go in there.
Right.
Or if it's just a no trespassing sign on a road, but all the other land is not, tagged. I just feel like if we have to do our due diligence, and when I went through hunter safety, the way to go about it was if there was like a old board on a tree and there's not even a no trespassing or posted sign anymore, treat it as if it is posted.
Mm-hmm.
there's 20, 30-year-old signs in some places that is just one, not every 50 feet or 100 feet or 75, whatever it's got to be or supposed to be. That land has probably changed hands 2, maybe 3 times since the posted sign went up, and nothing. There's no name, there's no address to get a hold. If a deer went on that property and died, there's no way to find legally. There's no way to find who owns the property and get permission to go get it. So it just bugs me that we have to do that part. And there's probably a lot of land around here that is technically legal to hunt because it's not the landowner. It doesn't want it posted, and because they want to keep it. What is that? Open. Current use.
Yep.
And I know they get a tax break on that.
Yep.
So either people just throwing them up because they know hunting season's coming, and which is fine because the landowner can just tell you they don't want you on their property and you have to leave.
That's the law.
That's perfectly legal. But there's a certain way that you're supposed to do it. And if this is posted on this side of the road and I go on this side, I go in a spot and I'm tracking a buck, I never cross a posted line because the border, the perimeter of their property isn't properly posted. It's posted just on the road. So I know there's me ranting on it doesn't change anything, but it bugs the shit out of me for whatever reason. And I know if someone were to follow up on these landowners that aren't posted right, then there'd probably be a lot more land posted.
There's a couple of ways there's a couple of avenues here. Okay, so in Vermont, every year you have to post your property.
Has to be signed and dated.
Has to be signed and
Poster has to be
dated.
signed and dated.
That's supposed to be New Hampshire, right?
No. All it has
New
to
Hampshire
have is,
doesn't have to have that.
you have to have, and what it is if there's one sign that says posted, it's posted.
That whole piece is.
Now it's supposed to be every 100 feet is supposed to have a posted sign with the landowner's address and name, so you can contact them. But as it is, there's 2 different ways to look at this. There's if it's posted like you're talking about, and you don't know where the property lines are, and you're tracking a buck, and you go on there, and the landowner gets mad at you and wants you in trouble, and Fish and Game shows up because you've called or they have, you're not criminally liable because it's not posted correctly. But you have to leave. And if it all goes into a lot of the Fish and Game department has a lot of leeway in how they're going to do that. If they feel that you didn't actually know, you're going to be fine. And I believe I'll have to ask Diane again, but dealing with the criminal trespass, I believe it has to be posted properly to be able to be charged with criminal trespass.
That's what I assume. And I always thought that it was the law, like you were saying, like Vermont is. And I know some people have giant pieces of property, and it doesn't make sense for them to go all the way around it.
We do.
We
spend thousands in signs.
Well, that's not. I don't expect everybody to do that, and that's not what I'm saying.
And that's the thing.
But I just. I guess that's smaller pieces of property that it kind of bums me out about,
Well, there's a couple things you can do, and I know, and this is going to get into the political whole aspect of it, and I hate getting into this, but a lot of us have issues. Whoa, you okay?
Yeah, I just hit my mic.
Oh, I thought you were going down. A lot of us have different issues, whether it's hunting, fishing, trapping, or just normal stuff. We all like to be left alone and do our thing, right? But it gets to the point where you have to get active. And if this is a problem, and I can tell it bothers you, and it bothers me.
It just bothers me because we all have young kids, and it's just, the way I grew up is like you go, not a whole...
If it's current use, I mean, if it's common land, if it's not posted, you hunt it.
Exactly.
And I still go on that. If I get told to leave, I leave.
Exactly, yes.
In 1972, that was a $50 fine if you didn't, but this isn't 72.
That's why I carry 100 in my pocket, because I want to get told twice.
Whatever. But no, if it's a common land lot is a New England thing, and we're used to that. And, I mean, there's various different reasons why it's getting harder and harder, but I found a lot of times asking permission, if you are kind enough to do it, you're going to get those people who just say no, and those are those type of people. But a lot of people will say yes.
Right.
They just want to know. The other thing we can do as far as getting active is, and I hate to say this, is to run for an office. Even if it's just in your town selectman. Now you can start getting rules written and saying, if you want to post your property, it had better be posted correctly.
Right.
You know, and the other thing I have a problem with is like with Onyx, and if the Onyx guys are listening to this, they need to be more proactive. Is they'll have a piece of property that they say this is the person who owns it. If there was a way they could put an app on there and say not accessible, you know, because I know it's a lot of time, but we all pay money for that stuff.
Right.
So have somebody look into it.
There was a podcast, I can't fucking remember what podcast I was listening to, but they had that conversation, and one of the guys was saying it would be nearly impossible just because, like what you're saying, New England is totally different from the rest of the country.
Right.
Out there, you have way more bigger tracts of land, and it's all posted anyway. You can't hunt it.
It's out there. You consider it posted unless it says open to the public.
And so
maybe that's what we need to do here.
The guy wasn't aware of like the law we had, so he was like, "What?" He's like, "That seems like impossible to track down. You'd have to."
It may be.
It may be, but
maybe blowing smoke out my butt. But
no, but that sounds like a great idea.
I mean, it'd be
so
nice
much
because
easier.
then you can just go, oh, we can't go across here unless we get permission or whatever. I mean, I like the common land law. And the other thing is we get people moving here from other parts of the country, and they think it's like Kansas or Montana.
So they
no,
post
I
it.
own this
Yeah.
land, and they don't even post it. They just think you're not allowed to be there. And it's like, look, this is the law since the 1600s in New England. And we like it.
I'll see you coming out later. I'll see you later.
Yeah. So you can do that. We can, try to. Diane, my wife, has authored legislation. Maybe that's the way we need to go. Maybe we need to play hardball. I don't know. It's just one of these things, and I get aggravated with it too. You'll have signs like you're saying that have been up there. They're all ratty and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a piece of property without a house.
Right. Yeah. That's mostly what I'm talking about.
Guy passed away in prison.
Right. So now you have to go to the town. You find out who the owner is.
Yeah.
And then you contact them that way. I guess that's to be I'm not crapping on landowners' rights. Absolutely the opposite of it. Every person who owns a piece of property has a right to determine
whatever they want to do.
And
that's why I don't want to sound like I'm bitching, but I don't want to sound like I'm.
You just want to have fair warning,
right? Exactly.
You just don't want. You're a guy. If you weren't concerned with this, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
You're concerned with this because you don't want to piss people off. You don't want to do something wrong. So that's the thing. But it's almost like having a law that you can't do whatever.
Yeah.
But there's no law written for it.
Right. There's nothing like what's going to happen.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't even know if I'm going the right way with this, but I'm just saying I understand. And I'll agree with you that the landowner should be just as responsible as we are. We have to be responsible not to screw somebody. The landowner should have to be responsible for telling us in a sign or whatever. They were trying to change it to purple paint.
Yeah,
if you remember that.
I remember that, but it's
a lot of paint out there.
Yeah.
Well, you see the red,
purple.
You see the red boundary lines.
Oh yeah, that's
paint,
what I mean.
But you see purple too, and I've seen it. Off Tenerife Mountain Road, it's like purple paint. I'm like, all right, well, this could mean anything,
right? And it's out west. It's the purple paint rule. So, and that's the thing. People are moving here, and they don't look into it. It's like we had an issue. I'll rewind for a second. Now you get the current use problem too, and this could actually work in your favor. There's people who come here, or they lived here for their whole lives, and they like to cheat the system. So the way the current use is, and there's 2 or 3, 4 tiers of current use. The top tier of current use gives you the highest tax break, but you cannot limit the access or the use of your property except for wheeled vehicles or cutting trees and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
But so if you're in a top tier and you post your property, you're violating, and now you owe the town taxes.
Yeah.
So if you go to the town and you look at what their current use rating is and it's posted, Now you can make that complaint and say they're cheating the town out of taxes. So now you can strong arm and say either pay the taxes or open the property.
Right. That's my feeling. It's like
So, and you know, I work for a farm. We have 1,800 acres that's posted. We're not in the top tier. We don't take the top, but we're allowed to take, because it's ag, we can take a certain amount of tax break, but we're below the top tier, so we can limit the use. And part of the property is open for hiking and that kind of thing. We don't allow hunting, or we don't allow wheeled vehicles.
Right.
So, and that's another thing, and that's a great weapon to use because it's not that hard. Go to the town, say, talk to the guy. Hey, I got this property.
Well, you know, look.
Yeah, because
I got you here.
now they got the tax collector on their butt,
Yeah.
and now they're forced to either
Pay more
taxes,
right.
which causes it to be able for your town to buy some open land for you guys to hunt, or they have to change. And that's fair, because basically they're stealing access from you by doing that. That's the way I look at it. You have a lot of land in New Hampshire that is open.
Right.
For public
That's
land.
why I like I said, I want to make it a point that I'm not bitching about I don't have enough, you know, there's plenty, and we've never had an issue with it.
Yeah, never.
Around here, there's plenty of you know, whatever. I can see what's happening slowly. It's like creeping from southern New Hampshire, and there's just more people are moving more north, and then they're just.
I mean, it's always bothered me. The one thing that always bothered me, and this is a little off it, but it's in the same bed. Guys will buy like a huge piece of property, and they post it.
Yeah.
They don't ever do a damn thing with it.
No.
They don't hunt it. They don't fish it. They don't even go on it. They're from Clearwater, Florida. They never go on it.
Just an investment.
Yeah.
That's all they're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand the guy who buys 500 acres and he's a hunter, he's a farmer, and he's using the land. And he's posted it for his own safety, for his family's safety, for his own hunting.
Right, exactly.
I'm cool with that.
Right.
But you're buying up property just for
Just
the
to
sake of
sit
buying
on
it. It's an investment, but you don't want anybody on it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably goes with, like you said, somebody from out of state that thinks legality-wise, you have to do that for insurance purposes or whatever.
All the people who's not from New Hampshire are going to think we're calling them names. And
Right,
stuff,
yeah,
but,
no.
You know, it's just...
Yeah.
It's like anything. If you're going to go, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Yeah.
Okay? That's
Right.
just the way I look at it.
Right.
You move to New Hampshire, come on, man. Let's be like you're from New Hampshire.
Let's do it.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, welcome up here. Let's go hunt and go track a buck.
Well, that's the biggest thing is right now I can go in my backyard and cut a track and then, you know, just go.
Yeah.
Right? And 10, 20 years from now, I don't feel like that's the case. It's
You're
going to
gonna
be
come
like
up to a posted tree, then another
yeah,
posted tree.
you can't hunt a buck like that.
No, and that is because that when that happens, that's a dying part of this hunting.
Yeah, it's a tradition
Yeah.
lost.
You
have to
got to go
travel
all the way to Pittsburgh now
Right.
to track that one buck that's up in the mountains.
along with everybody in Vermont.
Yeah,
and
with everyone else.
yeah.
oh, it is green plates up there now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess they're letting theirs grow
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
I know they got a lot of woods over there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Sweet. James, what do you got going on for your bait site?
We actually just had a bear hit it yesterday.
Nice.
So not a big one. I won't go after it.
Yeah.
If my daughter looks at me and says she wants to go hunt it,
Absolutely.
I'll set it up and go hunt it with her. But nothing.
You get out. You got it set up the first.
Yeah, me and Rob came in and helped me plug in some stuff, and my daughter helps me with all my bait sites.
That's awesome.
She had cowboy boots on.
Yeah, that's her thing.
Yeah.
She hasn't wanted to hunt it until this year,
Yeah.
but last 3-4 years helped me set it up.
Yeah,
Since she was 3.
She was mad at you when I helped you carry in the stand.
Yeah, she was pissed that
Oh,
Rob
she was
helped
so
me
mad.
carry the stand and stuff.
I'm
and
supposed
she
to go to
couldn't
the bait site.
Oh, really?
But no, we got a bear, probably 100 pounds.
Yeah, it's a
120
100-pounder.
pounds maybe.
Sweet.
Boar. I mean, it's a male.
It's a
Yeah.
male, but if she wants to hunt it, I'll go hunt it. But
Yeah.
until then, I'm not touching that site. Until,
You did have an orange-clad
that
gentleman.
fucking guy.
Don't know what he was
never
doing.
seen a person in there, and then
Or someone just
I
walking
did-
through
yeah.
or hunting.
Yeah,
and he
he's walking
stands
through.
right in the middle of it and starts staring at everything.
Yeah.
Cell cams going off. I'm like,
Oh, this is like
yeah, it was
Like
the day.
recent.
Yeah, September 2nd.
Yep.
Just
Got
stood
an orange
there.
vest on. I don't know if he was a forester. He had camel pants and stuff on. He may have been a forester, but I don't think he was.
No, he was just
Just
standing
stand in the bait
Yeah.
site.
there. Yeah, standing right in the middle of it.
Oh, these donuts are still good.
He's got like a belt of game cameras on.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was weird. It was a weird picture. Because I remember I sent the picture to a couple buddies. I was like, oh, this is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really annoying. And then that next morning, I think it was like 6, 8, 9 hours later, that
Yeah.
bear was in there hitting it. So
Oh, that's good.
we were like, okay.
Yeah.
But no, if that bear continues to hit it, and my daughter looks at me and says she wants to hunt it, we'll go hunt it. But
She's shooting.
fully suppressed 300 blackout.
Oh, nice.
So
Perfect.
Yeah, like a lot of kids, she doesn't like the loud noise.
no, she doesn't
Yeah.
like the loud noise. So
What a game changer those suppressors are for
the
especially
loudest
younger
part of that,
kids and
loudest part of this gun is the bullet hitting the
Right.
target. It's
Probably the recoil. It probably reduces,
no recoil.
Yeah, that's what I
Nothing,
mean for these
whatever.
kids.
I wish that-
nothing.
Someone would change the name from a brace to just a kid stock.
Yeah.
Because those 300 blackouts with a brace, you can't put it on your shoulder.
Yeah,
But
can't show
with a kid, like even when Kylie was, probably 6, she was shooting a 300 blackout
Yeah,
and it had a brace on it. I'm like, you could just call this a youth stock also.
You can't have a brace, but the Taliban can have billions of dollars of our guns.
Yeah.
Jerks.
But this is a Ruger American,
Yep.
fully suppressed.
That's awesome.
What was that guy, the new guy, the Chipman? He's going to be the new ATF director,
Yeah.
the anti-gun guy. Yeah,
Sounds
maybe he's going to go over and be a Taliban too. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Tell them to bring one of those AR-16s they got.
Yeah, AR-14
Yeah,
for
whatever
the fully automatic suppressed clip.
We were just listening.
Yeah,
to
we
that.
just listened to Don Jr. talking about that.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Way
awesome.
up here.
That's funny. So, Rob, you got something going on here, new to the plate. You're a busy dude. You got all kinds of shit going on. All
And
the
James
time.
knows because I used to be like, James would go, "Can you do this?" And I'm like,
used
"Yeah,
to?
I'll be right there."
Yeah.
No, I am booked. My
what
calendar
happened to
is booked.
catfishing?
Catfishing has taken a back burner. We went once this year.
Once this year.
Yeah.
That's Matt Smith has taken the flag from that for me.
I think I seen.
Yeah,
that.
he's
on
state,
social media,
new
yeah.
state record
New
last
state
year,
record
right?
holder.
nice.
This guy, I'll tell you, Matt knows cats better than I ever will.
Yeah.
And I thought I knew cats.
Right.
This kid is just a monster.
Balls deep in it.
That's where he lives. He
Yeah.
lives on the river. He catches big. I went, just a little side note. I went catfishing with him this year in his boat, and I basically was filming and kind of just hanging out,
Right.
letting him, kind of learning from him, which seems funny because I was kind of the guy that spearheaded this. And I'm sitting there and I'm not catching anything, which is weird. And he's talking. He catches a 10.5 pounder. No big deal. He just brings it in. No big deal. He says, just 10.5 pounder. Okay. Then he
right.
catches an 8.5 pounder. It was a slow night that we got those 2 fish, but they were hogs. Man.
Yeah.
They were big fish. I didn't catch anything. And then, it's because this stretch of the river, they don't like chicken liver. They like caught bait. And I was like, and he uses trout.
No shit.
He goes and catches trout. And,
Nice win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he cuts them for cut bait.
Yeah.
He says because catfish tastes better than a damn trout.
Yeah.
Corn-fed trout don't taste as good as a big
Right.
nice
Yeah,
cat.
I
yeah.
bet so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're
that's
right.
what he does. So, but yeah, the kid is a
Pellet
monster.
fed, yeah.
You should get talk to him sometime
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
he is a fisheries
yeah.
just a nut. He loves fish.
Yeah.
We spent and I hope he doesn't get mad at me for this, but just a little insight to his mind. Him and I spent probably 45 minutes after we got the boat on the trailer and pulled it out with flashlights, walking through the shallows, looking at all kinds of different little tiny fish, baby fish, walleyes. There's these little loach fish. I never knew they were there. He's telling me about those, and he just knows fish. I mean, if he had gills, he'd be in the river. So he's a great guy. But I've kind of gotten off the fishing thing right now because we're in process of starting Richardson's Whitetail Services, which is a business that I have had since I've known James. We've talked about this. I've always said, yeah, wouldn't it be great if I could do that? This spring I started doing seminars for finding big bucks, finding bedding, picking different funnels and wind and thermals and everything. Did couple of classes, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the guy I've been kind of doing a lot of stuff with, he's like, there's more to this. And I says, yeah, I know. Check this out. So I show him a website of what I had for an idea, basically consulting people's properties. And here we go back with the people who own properties. Now I've said something bad about Post, and they're probably never going to hire me.
Yeah.
But, we come in and we do a complete overview of your property. If you're a deer hunter, we're going to come in, we're going to do a complete overview. Everything from your thermals, your directional wind, the different areas in your property that the bucks or the does, depending. Some people like shooting just does, so we can do everything. Just give you a complete write-up. Soil testing. We can pick out your areas that the deer are feeding in. Just so much stuff that we can do to help a landowner make his property stand out and really be able to produce good deer. And even if there's good deer on it, help the hunter or the landowner find them and set up for them. Now, I'm not going to set his stands up. I'm not going to go out there and hold his hand while we're hunting because I can't guide.
Yeah.
I'm not going to guide. This actually is, to me, is more helpful in the sense that I'm not dealing with the average guy.
You'll learn something new every day just being out there every day.
Exactly.
Jeez,
and that's the thing
it's
is
a win-win.
Being out there is a big classroom.
Yeah.
And I know a lot, but I'm going to learn more myself because now you're going to get into the intricacies of how deer do things. Because we all talk about the seasonal shifts. We all talk about how they react to this and that and the other thing. Well, if I'm out there all the time, I'm going to see it.
Right.
And then it's going to help
and multiple
the customer.
different properties also. Different.
Exactly.
Everything's going to be different.
And I'll go all over the state. I'll
Yeah.
go everywhere from the tippity top of Pittsburgh all the way down to New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
Right.
So,
Massachusetts.
no offense. I know I'm being a bad businessman, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
It's a suburb of Boston. That's what
Yeah.
they classify it as. So that's what I call it in New Hampshire, Massachusetts. There's a lot of deer down there, so I'll go down and help you out.
There is.
So nothing personal.
Yeah.
It's just what we northern guys call it. So, but yeah, we're gonna go on a piece of property, and the way we're gonna charge. We're still working on exact pricing, but by the acre. Guy with 1,800 acres, like I told you guys before, is going to be charged a lot different than a guy with 200.
Right. Yeah.
But 200 acres is a daunting task to map.
Yeah.
And it takes a while. It's a multiple day thing. We come in and we do it, and we'll even set camera traps up for you, or sell camera, sell cameras, regular cameras, whatever you want, either your own or ours, because we're stocking up on cameras, so we can do this. So I can have multiple properties at one time being monitored.
Yeah.
And give you a deer inventory. We can do that fairly easy. The whole thing. I can pretty much pick apart a property pretty fast. Always have been able to. It's just something I can do, and it's going to help the landowner. So that's what we're doing. And we're also going to add in animal recovery. As far as you get a big buck and it's in a gully, and you've tried and you can't get it out. You and your buddies are having a hard time. You call us and we'll come and get the thing out for you.
Yeah.
We're working on a lot of things moving at once.
Right.
But this is what I'm doing. So
Good deal.
we're LLC.
Yeah.
And we're going right to town with it.
Awesome.
So
that's gonna be a fun
Good for you
adventure.
guys.
Yeah.
Heck
Yep.
yeah.
yeah, so give me a call when you need a buck pulled out. So when
throw
you guys
those on
buy
the
your
shoulder.
1,000 acres, I'll come in and help you out.
I tried buying that piece of property right there, right next to me, so no one could build on it. It's like I don't know, little over 2 acres. It's like $65,000.
No one can build on it?
No, so I wanted
Oh.
it so no one can build on
Oh,
it.
that's what
And
you
know what I mean?
that is the problem with New Hampshire right now.
Right.
The prices are
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm like, holy shit!
So-
it's not worth it.
Vermont is open, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff up in the North Country that's great property. I
Right.
mean, super great property that is very reasonable for
Yeah.
that same price. You can get huntable acres.
Right.
So that in northern Maine, of course, always.
I don't have that money right now.
No, and that's most of the problem. Most of us hunters are working.
Yeah,
class, so-
working class, broke
Yeah.
all the time.
Exactly. But hey, we still have a great time.
Yeah. All right, are we good? What we got?
We're at an hour.
Yeah?
Hour, do we-
Yeah.
I'm good. I
Rocking.
appreciate you guys coming over.
Yeah, heck of
It's
a
always
trip
fun.
down here,
Yeah,
guys.
it's always a trip.
Maybe I should just move over here and just come down and talk all the time.
Property next door.
There you go. Yeah, 65,000.
I'll put a tent blind. I'll live in that.
Yeah. Well, the podcast and
Where
YouTube
can everyone
channel.
reach you? Yep.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
your thing, guys.
Yeah.
So our podcast is Northeast Woodsman. You can find that on Instagram and Facebook, stuff like that.
I feel like we
Yep.
probably have a lot of crossover listeners.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
they
I
probably
think so,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rob, your YouTube channel.
My YouTube channel is Hunter's Moon Productions.
There you go.
And we have all kinds of stuff. Not only that, but we're bringing back Granite State Hunting Adventures.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that's not primarily big buck hunting
Yeah.
is going to be on there. Bear hunting, rabbit hunting, pheasant, whatever. It's going to be on there. We're bringing it back.
Speaking of that,
Wait. Hang on.
you're a scorer.
I'm the president.
Yeah,
of
the
New
president.
Hampshire-
He's
New
the-
Hampshire
He's
Star.
the
President.
president. Oh,
Yeah.
I should have fucking mind my P's and Q's a little bit more. You never know when you need another inch, you know?
That's
Yeah.
what she said.
So I'm the president of the New Hampshire.
How long
House
have you been doing that?
Club.
A long
This will
time.
be the third year that I took over as the
Yep.
president of that club. I took over for Roscoe Blaisdell.
He's
and-
old. Sorry, Roscoe.
Fucking
Love you,
kidding
man.
for that. But yeah, I took over for Roscoe, and I've been scoring now for 11 years.
Yeah.
11, 12 years.
I've always struggled with, it was probably like 10 years ago now. Me and my dad went out to Illinois on a bow hunt, and the place that we went, it's like, all right, you got to shoot 130 or bigger. So I was like, okay, that's fine. What's that mean? Like, for me to score a buck on a hoof coming from New
Yeah.
Hampshire is, I couldn't tell you, you know. I know that's like a 120, you know, if it's a small basket kind of, you know, and anything over the years, but I've never been able to score something on the hook.
Well, we can fix that. You can
Yeah.
come and take a class with James, become a scorer.
Yeah,
It's-
that would be sweet.
It's taken a while, but I can pretty much be within a couple inches.
Yeah.
He's
when
good.
I
He's
look
pretty
at
good.
it.
That's why we had you. We just did that
Oh,
viewer
shit, that's
challenge, the
pretty
viewer
good.
big buck cam
Right.
challenge.
Yeah.
I relied a lot on James. We had bucks. That was the toughest thing we've done. There was some great bucks.
Yeah.
Some
But-
ungodly deer.
But James, I always trust when he looks at a buck. I trust his judgment because he is usually within an inch. I'm pretty good. I'm within 3,
Yeah.
5. But James is just like he's been doing it so long.
Yeah,
He
you've
sees-
seen so many.
Seen so many.
Yeah.
touched
You've
so
seen the
many,
best
it's
bucks in New
like-
Hampshire,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hands down. So
That's an awesome. I mean,
That's pretty sweet.
get to
just
see all of
yeah,
the-
you get
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even Midwest deer. I got a bunch of buddies that go out
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yep.
and So scoring 180 something inch deer from
it's crazy.
Illinois. It's like
yeah.
that
That's
was
pretty
like
good.
second year I started to become a scorer. I scored almost 190 inch deer,
Wow.
gross deer from Illinois, and it was like
Yeah.
What was the most challenging one you've ever?
probably either that one that Armin killed. That was like 186 and something. That one.
Where was that out west?
Yeah, Illinois. It was in Illinois. My test deer. It was like 215 inches
Wow.
gross
Wow.
from Rhode Island. I think it was killed in.
Yeah.
That deer was just.
What about that helmet
Oh,
buck?
I think
that
I
we,
saw a picture of that deer that you're talking about. Yeah.
the one that had that big bone.
Oh, Houdini. There,
Houdini,
they
yeah.
called him. That wasn't that bad.
No,
No,
I wouldn't have known what to do with that thing.
had like a helmet. It looks. I'll have to show you a
like
picture
a
of
big,
Jeez.
big
it. It had
horn
a
sheep
big
or something.
growth
It was
over
part
his
of the
head.
antler.
It was part of the antler.
No
It was
shit.
pretty crazy, but
Jeez.
nothing really. I don't
It's
know.
super interesting. I mean, I'd like even the bear skulls. I'm like, oh, this is pretty.
Bear skulls are only 2 measurements.
Yeah.
Moose
Crossed.
antlers are 3 measurements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. If you get a deer with a bunch of junk on it, I'm sure.
yeah, a bunch of junk is like
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Neil
Yeah,
Peddleton's
yeah.
deer. That thing.
I had it. I thought I had
Oh
it
yeah,
stumped.
that's
when
gonna be
when
a
Champa
nightmare.
was like training to become a scorer. I was like, just go score Neil's.
Yeah.
If you
That's
want
a-
something tough, go score Neil's deer.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna get you. But yeah, Steve come down and hung out with me for a day.
Yeah.
And I certified him in a day.
That's awesome.
And now Steve's now a MBB scorer with me for the
Mhm.
Northeast Big Buck Club, Maine, Vermont. So,
Nice.
and I
Heck
think,
yeah.
and
We need some more scores over here, so come on.
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have many more
I'll do
scores.
it.
A lot of the
I'd
old,
be super interested in that. Yeah.
yeah, probably the winter time.
Yeah.
We'll probably do another little scoring class, but we usually do when my buddy runs a restaurant. We usually
Mhm.
do it right there.
Yeah.
He supplies lunch and everything, and we do a class. And when you pass the class, you become a scorer for Vermont, New Hampshire,
Awesome.
And then
Then you get to see some real bucks.
Yeah, Northeast Big Buck Club. You become a scorer for. So
Just picking on Vermont. Sorry, I shouldn't do
Vermont
that.
shot
Vermont's
a
got
booner
some.
this year.
Yeah, they get some good bucks. It's just the old joke of the Vermont 11-pointer.
That deer was huge in Vermont.
Did he swim the river?
I probably did. He was right down close, but
No.
On the other side
Sorry,
of the
Vermont.
Connecticut.
I love you guys.
I know Vermont had a good year.
Yeah, they got some good ones. They got some really
They
good
shot
ones.
a bunch of them in the 140s
Yep.
this year. So
What do you think the average is for New Hampshire?
120s.
120.
I see 120s.
Yep.
A lot of 120, 130, 140. When you get to that 150, 160, then it's
That's
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yep.
like
What do you think
like Evans Buck, Mark Evans Buck.
Yeah.
That one.
that
I
thing's
just
awesome.
I just scored one a couple days ago. The guy drove over to my house. It was 168 and something. I was
From
like,
New Hampshire?
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. I was like, when I netted it down, it was like 160 and 7/8. So I was like, you got to go see Roscoe.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to, because I applied for Boone and Crockett,
Yeah.
but because of COVID, my class got postponed, so I can't score anything officially for Boone and Crockett until my
So
class.
when you something like that, if you think you have a booner and like you can only get it scored once, right? Like that's
No, you can.
you can't get a second opinion, like a 200-pound deer. You know how you're
Yeah. Well, like I scored it, but then I stopped. As long as I don't
sign the
sign that
paperwork.
sheet, it's good to go.
Okay. all
So
right.
like I didn't sign it. I added it up, and I was like, "You need to go to Roscoe."
yeah,
So pushed.
you're
it
too
right there.
close.
Yeah,
you're too close.
And it ended up scoring 161 and 2/8. So
Wow.
it was
Yeah.
like 2/8 difference than what I got.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, 3/8 difference. So
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
so that was like our fourth or fifth booner in 2020 that
Yep.
was killed.
No shit.
And they're just getting bigger.
What county?
Do you think they're getting bigger?
That one was, what is Warner?
Okay,
Warner.
Never mind. I was just asking the county, but you said
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, it was in Warner.
Warner's
Yeah,
Merrimack.
Yeah, Merrimack County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice area.
James and I talked about that before. You can see in the stats deer are getting bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, deer.
I
It's,
always wondered. I'm like, well, have the deer been this big since I was a kid, or is it just social media now? You get to see, like, you'd only be
Like more people sharing stuff, so you're able to see more
yeah.
things.
'Cause it
But
used to be you go to a
get
gas
a lot
station.
of them that you don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
You
true.
don't
yeah,
see no more. So.
yeah. But when I was like, you'd go past a weighing station, see a big
Pictures.
buck there, you'd be like, holy shit, that thing's from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And then once social media blew up, then you were like, oh wow, there's a lot more big deer than
Yeah.
I thought there was.
I think there's always been guys that could get it done,
Yeah,
but the stats don't lie. I mean,
No.
yeah,
it just
yeah.
they keep getting bigger.
Southern New Hampshire,
Yep.
where we are,
Mm-hmm.
is on the rise right now. So
Growing.
Good.
Pittsburgh's gone down the shitter.
Yeah.
But so
Yep. There's not as many deer up. Well, there's
There's not
deer up
as-
there, but they're not as big.
there's not many of anything up Pittsburgh.
It's always been tough though up there. Even back in the 90s when I was hunting up there, it was still tough to get a deer.
Yeah.
So
No, we hunt up there quite a bit, and it's nice because like when you get on a track, you're not gonna get into like barnyard into a bunch of different fucking
Yeah.
deer. You can kind of just keep your eyes up, and you know that track's there unless a doe comes in or something. But around here, it's a little bit more tough.
Oh my god.
you
get
see
on
a lot
track
more.
and-
See a lot more Vermont tracks than you do.
Yeah,
than deer track. And it's how it is.
That's-
Somebody was saying if it snows up there, you see more trucks than deer.
That's 100%.
That's not. It was like opening day of like grouse season when we went up. Like we went up to track because there's snow on the ground, and it was like
I drove.
partridge
up that
season opens
morning.
up. Yeah,
Well,
and it's usually there's
it
a
was
trucks,
stupid.
dog, every little pull off. Well, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It'd be like a track crossing the road. You can see where the tire pulled over, check the track, kept going. And
Yeah.
It's like people are getting out on the roads at like 3:00 in the morning looking for a smoking fresh track.
And this is the whole problem with like guys like me, or I don't even want to be put in the same relief as the Benoits or any of that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Anybody who's on here talking about this stuff, people are learning.
Yeah.
And now our great secret
Yeah,
ain't a
of course.
secret
Yeah,
anymore.
right,
So
right, yeah.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You want to
Yeah.
educate people, but you don't want to educate them too much.
Right.
But yeah, it's getting tougher, and it's even tougher down here.
Yeah.
As far as tracking goes, you really got to pick your spot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's it. If you haven't
Awesome.
reached out to Fan Bam Outdoors, do so. Get yourself a camera mount.
Mm,
Grunt
Yeah,
call.
those things are freaking great.
they
Nick,
are.
Nick just ripped
Ground
on
count
his.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Buck
Yeah,
roar.
The buck with that buck grunt, dude. I love my call. Yep.
I'll be using that all this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that Fam Bam grunt.
That's right. We got there's some new designs and stuff, or updates. We've updated.
What,
So
the grunt call?
No, the mounts.
The
being
camera mount,
updated
yeah.
a little
yeah.
bit. So
We did a couple tweaks on it, and I'll be doing the test print at the house on them.
yeah.
So
Basically,
grunt call too.
it's like the $6 million man.
Yeah.
Stronger, faster, better.
The grunt call is gonna be a little bit revamped too.
Don't revamp it.
No,
too much.
look better.
Oh, look better.
Yeah.
I like
But
the
I
old classic look, you know,
Yeah.
that old just.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna print it off. I think I'm gonna
Nice.
try it on a resin
That'd
printer.
be cool, though.
So it
Yeah.
looks like glass.
Right.
That'll look,
Oh,
that'll,
nice.
look, that'll look good.
Yeah.
That'll look cool, though. Heck yeah.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right,
We'll
thank
see
you.
ya.
See you guys.
Yeah, baby, when we're together, it's like Vegas times 3. But in the morning, I'll know better, 'cause you're so bad for me. Just like a sip of wine leads me to drink. You're my gateway drug. I'm starting to think it's gonna take much more than just 12 steps. So call Betty Ford, call Dr. Drew, save me a bed, 'cause in a month or two I wanna quit you, girl, just not yet. Yeah, baby, when we're together, you're the only drug I need. But in the morning, I'll know better, 'cause you're so bad for me. Barreling down the road past these city lights, you got your hands on the wheel, a look in your eye. I ask myself, is it time to slow down? But the night's still young, we're full of gas, credit cards in my pocket with some limit left, and we got friends in the next town. Yeah, baby, when we're together, it's like Vegas times 3. But in the morning, I'll know better, 'cause you're so bad for me. Yeah, oh baby, when we're together, it's like Vegas times 3. But in the morning, I'll know better, 'cause you're so bad for me. Oh, 'cause you're so bad for me. 'Cause you're so bad for me. So bad for me.